start it. Let's not waste any time. I'm also playing on a mouse and keyboard today, so bear with me.
As he takes the donut glaze off of his pants. So do you want to just give a very quick recap as to where is BJ right now? What happened to him?
So we're in Ava's Hammer right now. We just woke up from a coma. It's been about 5 months since the previous game ended. Of course, people who played the New Order will remember that BJ ended up in a really sorry state at the end of the last game. He had a showdown with Death's Head. Things did not turn out super great. He took a grenade to the gut, and he's still alive, but he's in bad sorts.
Very bad shape.
Right now, the submarine is under attack by Frau Engel. She's coming to basically get you and retake the U-boat and get rid of her arch nemesis.
So BJ's just woken up after months of being in this coma. He's getting his bearings and immediately goes for the gun to take care of the Nazis.
Absolutely. Why? Of course he would. Why wouldn't he? I think Jens in MachineGames mentioned that he's broken, but you can never break him mentally. I think that's what they said. It's totally true.
So one thing we've gotten a lot of questions about in the first game, if you did play the New Order, you have a choice basically early on in that game to save one of two people, Wyatt or Fergus. And a lot of people have asked how that plays in this game. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Wyatt and Fergus is still a choice you can make in the new Colossus. For people who didn't play the New Order, though, it's one of those simple things where we give you the choice again at the beginning of the game. And then as far as gameplay differences go, we've talked a little bit about how in this game the laser craftwork returns. You've got a new weapon, the diesel craftwork, and that's part of the Wyatt timeline. And then from there, you just you pick whichever character you preferred from the previous game.
Bria, do you have a preference? Laser craftwork, diesel craftwork?
I like the laser craftwork, but I would say that I'm a pretty big Wyatt fan this time around.
Yeah, Wyatt's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic this time around.
All of his scenes in this game are great. You guys have seen, if you saw the launch trailer, we introduced Little Buddy just for a quick second, which was his little chameleon friend.
Oh yeah, that guy is amazing.
He's a Wyatt exclusive.
Yeah. So here BJ is meeting up with Set Roth again from the first game. We'll let you guys listen to this.
This is a great cutscene.
Quick. There you go. 1, 2, 3. I'll give it a new piece of crap. Now, Mr. Blazkowicz, I'm very happy to see you awake. Not so happy to see you out of bed. Where is she? Last time I saw her, she was with Caroline defending the sail platform elevator.
Then point me in that direction, sir.
You know how long you've been in bed? 5 months. Your body is broken. You understand? Kidneys are failing. You might have difficulties to urinate, to use your schmeckle, to do many other things.
No time for this. Just tell me.
Frau Engel. She's been hunting for you. She's been moving heaven and earth, and today she found you. Nazis reached the U-boat. Many wounded, many dead. I was separated from the others.
I have to go.
No, Hackman is the mechanic. I told you no.
Said, help me find the sail platform elevator.
You are such an action. You are such an action. Okay. Now, there are many Nazis between here and the sail platform elevator, but I set several traps. I didn't have the time to activate them, but look at this. This is a map to show you where the traps are. Put them to good use for the fascists.
Exploded.
I love the guy at the end who tries to tiptoe through it as if it's going to make a difference.
Did not make a difference.
Try not to get killed if you don't mind.
So we are going to do a giveaway in a little bit, so if you're watching, just stay tuned for a couple more minutes for our first giveaway. We have quite a few, actually.
I think we should also mention that there's not going to be any new spoilers in this content we're talking about today, right?
Exactly.
I know some people are worried about seeing too much of the game. Everything we're showing here is stuff that we've already kind of shown.
Except we will have some very cool things, like Derek mentioned before, the district missions, and maybe something else a little bit cool to show you.
Yeah. Because I love the music coming in here. Nick Gordon, of course.
Yeah, so if you guys were big fans of Doom, Mick Gordon is back to help out with the soundtrack, and he does a tremendous job.
some health. Of course, his health is always ticking down to 50. That was one of the gameplay differences that they mentioned early on, was about how BJ's hurt. He can't really hold up 100 health right now, so it makes his early level a little bit more challenging.
Right. Of course, after this, BJ's able to walk around and, slide and, get back to form. But right now, he's struggling. He's just woken up. Take out this guy.
Let's wheel off here.
Yep.
Can you imagine trying to wheel yourself around and shoot with the other hand?
No, I mean, that's BJ's definitely doesn't let anything get in his way. Down. So if you look around, you can see Set talks about how he has these traps set. So a lot of times you can actually set them off, and similar to similar to the way that you saw him basically blowing people up, BJ can do the same thing throughout the submarine level.
Yeah, and it's usually a really good choice to do, especially if you're playing on harder difficulties. We're playing on medium right now and bring them on, but if you bump the difficulty up, using those traps and making sure that you can lure them into it is always a good idea.
Exactly.
On the harder difficulties, BJ can't take much in this early level. And you can't dual wield either.
Yeah, not yet.
He needs one hand to wheel himself around.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can hear a Nazi commandant over the radio telling everybody to give up. As if that was ever an option.
And just like that, the Nazis flip the switch and really just mess him
Conveyor
up.
belts are their secret weapon, it seems.
Yeah, it's just not fair. So he's gonna get back to his chair here.
Back in the saddle, old man. Ignore the pain. Find a way to reverse the belt and get up to the sail platform elevator.
Let's head this way.
Yep. Oh God.
Of course, silent wheelchair is always an option here.
Gone. Yeah, you can definitely be creative in the ways that you take out the Nazis in this game.
Some of the takedowns are super brutal too. Still dangerous. Chuck some grenades down here.
Yeah. You got him.
Did we get him?
I think so.
A little
Dead
dark.
body?
Yeah, I think I got something there. I think he was too smart to come out. Lots of health, lots of armor everywhere. You can blow up these crates, grab additional stuff. It's classic kind of New Order gameplay here in the beginning. Warming the player up. Of course, New Colossus comes with all of this kind of hallmark gameplay elements of like an id, a MachineGames game. There's lots of collectibles, lots of things you can find, lots of reasons to kind of come back into these
Many Easter
smaller
eggs.
areas and grab things. Some interesting lore, newspaper, magazine clippings, all that kind of stuff. Taking pot shots at me from down the hallway.
It's clear.
First,
All right.
So he's gonna turn the conveyor belt back on and get back up there and look for the guys that flip the switch on him. See, that guy's just hanging out. He's just waiting for you.
This is probably one of my favorite tracks so
Yeah.
far in the earlier levels.
Pull it.
Anya to the rescue.
Yeah, saved by Anya.
That's what happens.
Of course, if you watched the launch trailer and saw Anya slide by with the grenades and basically take care of the Nazis.
Should we do a giveaway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we do.
We have our winners. We got to let you guys know. First one, Clockwork237. Congratulations. We're going to be sending you that pack of awesome. Number 2, you want to read that one?
Dutch Ops.
Good job.
Yeah, congratulations.
Dutch Ops. All you did was you hung out, but that's all you needed to do. And the third one, Derek, you want to read that one?
Z-Man to you.
Awesome.
I'm assuming I pronounced that right?
Congrats, guys.
Z-Man to you.
Many more giveaways to come, so if you didn't win, just hang tight. All right, so let's look at the sub hub.
Cool, the sub hub, Ava's Hammer.
Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, like, so this is where we just were.
Right.
Of course, in the wheelchair.
So that's BJ's room. He's got the little sign out front.
Yep, absolutely. BJ Hart, Anya.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume Anya made this.
Probably.
It
I don't
doesn't
see him painting.
BJ's a romantic. I think he made it.
He
You're
is a
right.
romantic. That's true. I just don't know if he can pull off that kind of handwriting. Of course, Set's Lab. There's a couple other little things in here. Of course,
Pig?
Pig.
Yeah.
I think Max Haas made this.
Pig's name is Pig.
I think it is just Pig. Of course, he's hanging out in there. Got Bombate. Max Haas's room. There's all sorts of cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
And you know, they're, like I said, the whole sub's been kind of like redone and turned into like a resistance hub. So it's a lot of stuff like this. More importantly, like as you progress through the game and you're going through these levels, you're essentially returning to the hub over time. And the
Right.
hub changes as you progress through the game, as you recruit resistance members, as you kind of like just bring about the resistance in the United States. So it's cool how it evolves over
Last
time,
words
and
I
of
gotta
course
ask
people
for.
will join the crew and they'll kind of hang out. MachineGames even went through the point of giving them all kind of like their own names and in some cases their own personalities. But let's go ahead and jump into some district missions. So the Enigma terminal up here, we haven't really talked about that much. Essentially, when you're playing through the main missions, you can collect these things called Enigma codes.
Right.
The Enigma codes are these little cards that kind of drop off all the commandants. They're the guys that call in reinforcements, and they will get alerted to things. Once you collect enough of them, you can essentially unlock these kind of targets, call them Uber commanders. They are these like high-profile Nazi targets, officers that are kind of like in all of these areas across the United States. And when you go on these missions to kind of assassinate them, you can earn things like weapon upgrade kits, or you can unlock the additional contraption abilities that BJ gets in the game, and you can essentially like progress BJ's abilities, make him more powerful,
Nice.
give him a better arsenal. It's actually really cool. This is the district map, so this is where you kind of choose the missions you're going to go on. One of the things we've unlocked here first is Roswell. So you come in here, of course you can see the downtown district. That's the stuff we've seen with the parade and all of that stuff. And then of course the underground district. And then what you see up there at the top are like the rewards you'll get for completing it. You can see that there's like a boss guy in here, there's a weapon upgrade kit you can find, and then of course your primary target is there.
Great.
So I think we'll just jump into the downtown district now.
Sounds good. So BJ's basically setting off course for this area. Bree, obviously, we showed this in a few of our trailers. Roswell's a really cool area in the game. And basically, when you play the game, these levels actually, you might have been there before, but they look different. So it's going to be pretty cool to check it out.
Yeah, we change it up. So, when you return to something like Roswell or you return to New Orleans, like it's not just the same level. Things have changed.
Right.
You'll fight different enemies, all that stuff, and you'll see that now. So here we are. First things I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to jump in. We're going to upgrade our weapons. I gave myself 50 weapon upgrade kits.
Nice.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
You'll unlock these as you progress through the game, and of course, they make a huge difference.
So depending on how you like to play, if you're more stealthy, you want to use maybe a suppressor, or you just want to go on guns blazing, you can kind of customize the way you assign these upgrade kits.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what you can do is you can actually toggle them on and off here in the menu, but then also some of them are just kind of attachments you can toggle on and off in the middle of gameplay.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about, like, if you don't want the scope on your Sturmgewehr, you don't necessarily have to have that, but you don't have to pause the game to turn it off. And
Sure.
I can show that in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and give myself some of these amazing upgrades, especially the laser craft work. We're going to give ourselves a supercharge. People might not normally have these many weapon upgrade kits
Sure.
by the time they tackle this district level, but for the sake of the stream and then my own dignity, we're going to give myself some stuff that's a little OP.
Yeah, I mean, we should point out you were playing on keyboard and mouse on his lap. That's pretty impressive. So
Yeah,
we'll see how he actually does.
We'll see
but
how I actually do here.
It's pretty good.
So you,
Okay, Blazkowicz.
Chris.
Your target, Uber Commander Jurgen Schlusser, motherfucker, is located in Species Mission Control under Papa Joe's All-American Diner. Now get in there and take him down. And do this one for me. Grace out.
So the clan's here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you're taking him out. I mean, that was
we're-
one down.
One down. I think there's a few more here
Yeah.
though. But the missions have been kind of reworked. There's all sorts of different enemies here that you can take down. Of course, my hatchet did break through his arm. That time it did. Oh, now we're over here.
Yeah. So you can see at the top the broadcasting alarm's going off, which means they know he's lurking about.
Yep. That's good. Kill that guy.
So we've mentioned it before, but BJ has different contraptions that he can use that sort of enhance, his abilities in the game. And one of them is the ramshackles, where he can just run into enemies, weak points and walls. And if they're weaker enemies, they just explode right in front of you.
Yep. Ramshackles is amazing at just making guys turn into jelly. Let's see if we take down this Citadel guy. So this guy clearly does not appear in the main Roswell level. He is. They have added him put him on guard duty essentially for the. Let's see if I can get a laser craft work here. I love that. I'm gonna die.
Whoa.
I'm gonna die. Let's see if we can get away here. It's always the most nerve-wracking part is, am I gonna die?
Yeah, these missions are actually pretty challenging. So when you beat one, it's rewarding and it's fun to go in here and clear them out. Just don't die.
I'm doing my best. I took him down, so I think that should be, jeez. Grab some of this armor. Another cool thing is like armor and ammo in this game.
Yeah.
As you run over it, it'll just automatically pick it up. That's a difference from the New Order, where you had to kind of go around and kind of manually grab that stuff. You're not going to have to spend that time doing that, so you can just kind of focus on combat.
Very nice. So if you look around, this should look pretty familiar to you from our trailers, the strawberry milkshake video that we put out. You can see the Papa Joe's Diner, and it just looks completely different at nighttime, and it's not as peaceful as that day with the parade.
Well, as peaceful as
a Nazi parade could be.
Yeah, and some of these shops are open, so you can kind of come in here, and of course, Cather's in here, the whole recording studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't come in here usually.
Yeah, exactly. Offers a new area to explore.
Just the whole nighttime aesthetic is great. So of course, Papa Joe's Diner. You just go in here, bust down the door.
Who cares if it's closed?
Doesn't matter. We'll grab some pretzels.
Yep.
The stuff we need. We gotta go in the back.
Yeah.
So super special in his little hideout down here. Let's make sure we got some ammo.
Yeah, this part's pretty tough. And you can see at the top, that alarm actually counts down as you're getting closer to your target, correct?
Yeah, it does. And this guy down here is no joke. These Uber commanders are no joke. They're basically buffed up soldiers with
Whoa.
explosives.
Yeah,
And you have to.
Nice
Can't
job.
have that Nazi motherfucker all up in special shit. Grace out.
Of course, there he is. Jurgen Schlusser?
Schlusser? Grace didn't know how to say it either, so that's fine.
No. And so, at this point, we're essentially done. We've completed this district. We've killed this guy. Of course, here's a weapon upgrade kit, so I'm glad I didn't return home right away. But
Yeah.
find this thing, add it to your arsenal, unlock a suppressor, unlock some
Yeah.
armor-piercing rounds, whatever it is.
It's pretty
And
cool.
then, of course, explore the level after you've already completed it. So
Right.
if you're focused on combat, you can do that. And then, when you're done, you don't necessarily just get shoved back into Ava's Hammer. You can walk around, look around, and make sure you're finding everything that you need to find without being in a stressful situation where the Citadel's firing rockets at you.
Exactly.
So we can go ahead and return to Ava's hammer.
Yeah, let's go back to Ava's hammer. We can do another giveaway because we got some other stuff to show you.
At least the ones we're going to show you guys today. But typically, you would go through like a little mini game and unlock these guys. And of course, the other specific thing is that you can't actually unlock these until you visit them throughout the course of the main game.
Right.
So as you go to these places as part of like the main mission to save America from the Nazis, you essentially unlock these as revisitable locations.
Mhm.
And then all these scenarios kind of unfold that way.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and bring up the district map again. Go to Roswell. Area 52 is actually pretty hard, so if I die on this one
Then
a couple
what?
times, then we'll probably just skip it.
Or laugh.
We won't
We can
judge you
laugh.
too much.
It's been known to happen.
I love the artwork you can see on the helicopter from Max. He signed it.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I assume he just painted that whole thing himself.
Yeah.
That's actually a great idea too. I mean, like if you're going to steal a bunch of Nazi tech, you don't want to be staring at a bunch of swastikas
Right,
and nonsense
make it your
all the
own.
time, right? You
Yeah.
want to make it your own.
Colorful, happy.
All right, Area 52.
Okay, Blazkowicz. Uber Commander Friedrich Baumgartner has been put in charge to oversee the salvage operation for anything of value that survived the nuclear blast at the old Oberkommando in Area 52. You gotta pop his ass before he makes off with the goods. Grace out.
Absolutely.
So right now you're dual wielding. What do you typically like to play with when you're running through here?
I'm actually a huge fan of the Sturmgewehr with the scope.
Mhm.
So, like, you know, when you attach a scope to it, it becomes a semi-auto rifle. It actually does significantly more damage. And while typically you would actually aim down sight with it, it still makes for a great, like, just standard hip-fire weapon.
Why don't you show us? Oh.
I wanted to hatchet this guy first. Retrieving hatchets, finding them everywhere, it's pretty fantastic. Got a silence pistol. And there's the Wiser. I think I stealth played through the entire New Order my first time through.
Really?
I did, yeah.
I'm a run in and gun in kind of guy.
You could certainly do that.
I don't know how to stealth. I try and then I just end up shooting everything. Oh.
So right there,
Oh,
it
that
went
was
to
nice.
to slow motion for a second. That's
Yeah.
actually specifically to kind of like give you the ability to take these guys out. Although I will say that it may be a perk unlock.
Yeah.
So like in the New Order, there are perks in the game, and the perks are all based on kind of like challenges you have to complete, like
Right.
killing so many guys quietly.
You don't
killing
enable
with-
them, you just unlock them.
Exactly, exactly. So you just kind of pick the ones you want to go for, and then you go for them, and it unlocks cool little things like slowing down the game when you need it to, or
Yes.
maybe you can crouch walk like 50% faster or something like that. Stuff to suit the playthrough. So come down here. See, slow motion again. Boom. His hip was super vulnerable, apparently.
It was.
Alright, let's see. So one of the things I'm going to do right now, as long as no one sneaks up on me, is charge the laser craft work again.
Yeah, so you'll find these charging stations throughout the level. So basically when you use up, you can see the meter at the bottom right hand side. When you're using it, it will deplete, so you'll need to charge them up.
Yeah, even between missions, clearly. Like, we didn't load into this mission with full armor or full ammo.
Right.
On the district missions, you don't do that, and you basically have to kind of like come into the mission, and you might have varying degrees of ammo, varying degrees of supplies with you. Of course, the levels are happy to provide some of that stuff.
The diesel Kraftwerk also has recharging stations around. It's just not just the laser Kraftwerk.
Right.
So I just
So that was your Battle Walker. So
Battle Walker,
if
yep.
you do a quick double jump in the game, which is a very natural thing to do a lot of times when you're playing video games, he'll just pop up, and instead of a typical jump, double jump, he suspends because he has these mechanical sort of stilts that pop out, and it's great for getting above, you know, different intense situations, cover. Oh, God. So you can see at the top there's actually 2 alarms, which means there's 2 different commandants, and the alarms have been
Yeah,
triggered.
that's a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have alerted them so quickly. There's going to be a lot.
There's a dog, right?
We got one. And a dog. This feels so bad. They can't help it, right?
Yep.
They're Nazi dogs.
They were trained to be Nazi dogs.
They speak German and they hate America.
So much for stealth.
Yeah, well, that happens a lot.
Oh
I think.
god!
Yeah, and there you go. They're tough, and you know we're back at the beginning. So maybe what we'll do is we can run through this pretty quickly. I'm not gonna play around with stealth too much, and we'll see what we can get through.
That was just your practice round.
It was just my practice round.
It's a warm-up,
Put
yeah.
in charge to oversee the salvage operation for anything of value.
We might need a
survived
death
the
counter.
nuclear blast at the old
Oh, can you pull a death counter out?
Yeah, we might need
Yeah,
that.
that would be great.
If you hit like 3, that we might just have to stop because it's embarrassing.
I'm surprised you didn't have the death counter on the ready.
I know. Should have planned ahead. Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't think we needed it either. That's why you're playing.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah. Well, there's a stretch of no enemies, so we'll see what happens.
It's actually more fun to just kind of funnel them, or at least it's easier. It makes
Yeah.
it way easier. Oh, we haven't picked up this thing yet. This is fantastic.
The music's ramping up. So
Sometimes when you just need a quad shotgun, things become a lot simpler. Somehow, he survived the first shot.
it's just a delayed reaction. I think he was just.
Yeah, that's what they
Oh.
I'm gonna die now.
Oh god. I think this is the perfect time for a giveaway because watching you die twice was
Save me with a giveaway.
very overwhelming. So here's what we're gonna give away. We have the Wolfenstein. That is my fault. All right, so we're gonna go to where?
We're gonna go to New Orleans.
Down in New Orleans.
Or New Orleans.
What do you say? New Orleans?
I've heard it's like Nolans.
I don't say that.
Mm.
We're gonna go to Nolans.
Yeah, and so, of course, there's 4 different district missions in New Orleans.
Yep.
And which one do we want to do? You guys like Confinement Wall, right?
Oh, confirmed. It's
Or you want
Nolans.
to do Ghetto?
Nolans?
According to the chat.
It's Nolans?
Someone said Nerlens.
Nerlens?
No, that can't be right.
That can't be right.
Let's jump in here.
I love you, give me Wolfenstein. That's what someone said. Can I get a shout out? I think it says Kai Pi 87.
Kai Pi?
It's far away, so apologies if I said that wrong.
Is it K-A-I?
Yeah.
Someone said Narwhals. Someone said Nerdlins.
Nerlens.
Well, now they're all going to be saying
Norlings. I think you're all wrong.
Shout outs. Me too. I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, a lot of people just won. What's it called? That's very cool. All right, so right now we are in New Orleans. I think that's correct.
Blazkowicz, Uber Commander Victor Kruger has established his mobile command
Kruger.
inside an abandoned charcoal grill
Kruger.
restaurant,
That's an
a couple of
appropriate
blocks
name
from
for
your
Lewis name,
location.
I think.
Especially
He's
for
attempting
October.
to reactivate the underwater mines around New Orleans. You gotta stop him. Grace out.
Oh, we have a third winner. Do you want to say that one? Tristan?
Worth it.
So
I
this
think Nicole
is
should
a
have to say it since it took so long to do.
this is a
That's it.
this is a mature rated game. So we picked a mature person to win this. Nicole, do you want to read it and then we can just repeat it just in case they can't hear you?
The winner is Butt Wipe 120.
Butt Wipe 120. Congratulations.
Are you sure that's not 120?
120.
It might be 120. It might be. Congratulations, you won a comic. The comic is for reading, just to make that clear, not for anything else. So there you go.
Sorry, I got a little impatient.
It's okay. So Derek's just killing some people. So we've shown some of New Orleans before, but this definitely does not look like anything.
Oh, I didn't realize there was an actual cancer in here. That's a problem.
So sometimes
It had no effect.
We have shown that you can ride the Panzerhund, but this is one that just wants to kill you.
Yes.
So
apparently. Yeah. All right. And then, so the Panzerhunds are a little bit different in the new Colossus. The Nazis have kind of, at least in the U.S., they've modified them, and they're very tanky now.
Yeah.
They're unlike their swifter European kind of cousins in that way.
Sure.
And so you won't see them kind of charging at you, chasing after you in that way. You'll see them more kind of like threateningly boxing into the corners and otherwise just kind of shooting that menacing flamethrower at you.
Yeah, lighting you on fire. Oh.
They're less cute. They don't
No.
have tails anymore.
You almost got a
You might
beyond
wanna-
the grave death on that one. Scoop up some of that armor. Yeah, we could use some health. So there we go.
That's perfect.
Oh. Some more apparently. Yep. Sorry if you can hear the keyboard a lot.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's just an authentic gameplay experience. That's what
That's
that
right.
is.
And of course the levels are always so instead we've loaded into a different part of New Orleans this time.
Yep.
That people I think will find
Appreciate,
fairly
yeah.
cool, yes.
Pretty cool.
It's an outdoor environment, a little bit less claustrophobic in the beginning here compared to where we just were.
Yep.
And yeah, New Orleans is not in great shape. Anyone who's been paying attention to kind of like the trailers and some of the gameplay videos people have been doing, some of the streamers, some of the stuff they've played, you find out right off the bat that like New Orleans is not the place that we remember.
This does not look like an alligator farm that I would want to visit.
No, I would also be worried that clearly they are all loose now. So
Yeah,
would
they
not
are.
be
They are loose. That's
so what we're going to do for this district mission is actually kind of infiltrate the wall.
Yep.
This big giant wall that the Nazis have erected around the entire perimeter of New Orleans.
So this is the third contraption
Yeah.
that basically takes BJ and using a constrictor harness, he can kind of shrink his body and fit in tight places, which is great for stealth, getting through, different areas of the map. But it's also just good to, uncover some secrets, get some ammo.
For people who just like I guess if you just run in guns blazing and you start shooting them right away, for people who are a little bit more meticulous or take their time or generally just kind of a little bit slower paced, the Nazi soldiers actually have a lot of these like kind of weird side conversations, things that kind of...
Oh, God.
Never mind, I've made a big mistake. I've made a giant mistake. What is he doing down there?
Waiting.
He was waiting
Just
for
waiting.
you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna die here.
But that's absolutely true. If you kind of walk around, especially areas where the Nazis are having conversations, you can listen to them. And, wow, that... I don't think there was any chance of walking away from that.
That thing had my number from the very beginning. Apparently, he was just sleeping down in that hallway.
Just waiting for you to pop out there.
That's a compound, by the way.
Which are pretty cool.
A new enemy in
Yep.
the new Colossus, and it's basically a robotic, fast-moving, dog-like thing.
Laser dog.
Yeah, laser dog shoots lasers at
I
you.
think is that the exact translation?
I don't think so. Might be
Okay.
Laserhund.
Yeah, I guess it would just be Laserhund, wouldn't it? Well, let's try this again. Anyway, what I was
See if
saying
this one
about
goes better.
before I was so rudely interrupted by the Kampfhund, the Nazi soldiers are kind of like talking about things. One of the interesting parts about their dialogue in this game is that because of the new order, they are all very hyper aware of BJ.
Right.
They all have this kind of moniker for him. He is Terror Billy. That's something that the entire kind of Nazi regime has coined him, and it's a way to kind of vilify him, make him sound terrible. They've turned him into a terrorist.
Right.
And of course, like any terrible government, they'll kind of pick someone and say like, hey, this is the ultimate bad guy. He's a terrorist. He's awful. And it's kind of like a part propaganda campaign in that way. So tough now. So the you'll walk around, the Nazi soldiers will talk about like, oh, yeah, I think he's a myth, he's a ghost,
Right.
he's this or that. There's a second one?
Jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say, you might want to just turn around and... I see that.
Hatchets, of course, you need all those.
Yep, you can pick up additional hatchets.
Did he come through here? Did he crawl under here?
He was waiting for you.
I'm assuming they're all going to be like chasing me.
Yeah, charge it.
I'll just take a timeout even though the alarm's going off to just go ahead and charge this
Yeah,
thing.
take a breather. It's getting intense.
That's not a bad charge time though if you think about it.
No.
How long does it take you to charge your cell phone?
Hours, right?
Hours?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever wanted a laser gun that can be charged in like 13 seconds,
I know where to find one.
alternate 1960s has got what you need. So of course the level, you can manipulate it in all sorts of ways. This one in particular, just because I want to pop up on stilts and I can move around, I can jump up onto platforms you wouldn't normally be able to get to.
Right.
And of course at the beginning of the game, and then throughout the game, you'll essentially like make that choice. You'll make a choice where you have to pick kind of one of these three things. The thing where you can either kind of go through pipes and in small areas and kind of hide from enemies, and then of course ramshackles, which let you bust through walls and kind of hit enemies and knock them over and stagger them. Alright, we need to find this guy. It's clearly over here as the number counts down. Here's an Enigma code. Falling off this guy, pick that thing up. So he's not above us. He must be below us, right?
Yeah, I think he's down there.
Here's a... Boom, grab that.
Yeah, that's what's great about the Battle Walker. You can basically, find secrets at a different height BJ wouldn't be able to find otherwise.
I don't believe that he is, a phantom right now, but this guy...
He's hiding.
He is hiding. It's because he's got no more reinforcements, and I took out those laser dogs finally, so he's running scared.
All his friends are dead.
Except I think he just called in another wave. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
Yep, he did. The lean mechanic is fantastic in this game. It's one of my favorite things. It's so kind of smooth and easy to engage, especially on PC. Shooting. Let's go here. I can hear him. He's screaming. He's afraid. Maybe he's tucked away. He's
Did you
hiding
go-
under
yeah,
like a
that's-
desk or something. Did I miss something?
No, I don't. Try maybe is he down? Below that? Down there?
Might be down there.
I don't think you've been down there, have you?
He's down there for sure.
Yeah. Jump out that way.
Who on stream can tell me where this guy is?
What?
Who's here?
Are we going to be microtransactions or loot boxes?
There are no loot
No.
boxes or microtransactions in the new Colossus.
No, they're not.
You've already got to look how hard you already have to work to try to find these guys. You think? Although right now I feel like if I could just unlock his location with something, that would be helpful.
just in case he wasn't dead.
I mean, it looked like he was still going to get up, so I
You had to make sure.
had to make sure. I had to nuke it from orbit with a hatchet. Ooh. I was hoping he was actually behind here, but he's not. So.
You always got to break the crates. You know, that's the one thing about Wolfenstein. No crate should go unbroken.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like pots or anything like that in like a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Or there's just too much to find. I have no idea where this guy is. There's a weapon upgrade
Should
kit,
get to
of
work
course.
on upgrading my weapons.
BJ thinks he needs to upgrade his weapons.
We do want to give away our next thing whenever you think you are calling it quits on this.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this guy. Let's go
Like
ahead
hide
and
and
give away.
seek.
You want to do it?
People have seen I think, enough of me running around doing nothing except for killing waves as they come in. Let's do a giveaway.
You want to?
Yeah.
So this one,
Like a broom closet,
Right.
a Nazi broom closet,
and you killed him.
and I found him.
Yeah. You shot him a lot.
I did. They are very heavy enemies. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
interesting thing because like the commandants, they go down real easily. They're soft
Right.
targets. They only carry pistols. These guys carry like grenade launchers. They have they're very menacing looking. They have eye patches. They're actually harder targets. So like you can get easily killed by these guys if you clear an entire district level
Sure.
and you have low health. All it takes is like 1 or 2 shots from them and then you're done. So you have to actually like approach them fairly tactically compared to like other just generic soldiers or even the heavily armored ones.
Yeah.
But we finally did.
We did.
So, I mean, like the district missions, they offer replayability. Of course, they're kind of cool. You go back. They're also good for progression as you go through the game. You don't have to do them.
Right.
Of course, you can progress through the game and just do all the main missions and get to the end. I wouldn't play that way.
Right.
Because I'd want to go in and I'd actually want to get those extra upgrade kits as I go along. That's a super important part of the game because otherwise, you know, if I had been playing these district missions without any of those weapons
Those
upgraded,
upgrades, yeah.
I don't even know if you get past like some of the first encounters.
And this guy's really good. So like if he wouldn't have been able to do it, I think it's worth taking the time, do a couple of district missions, get those upgrade kits, and then you'll be ready.
So instead of jumping into another district mission, I'm assuming we're full screen now, right, Nicole?
Yep.
Okay, cool. What I want to do is kind of show something that I think people will be really excited about. I should say that you know, MachineGames, they're amazing at doing a lot of this world building detail stuff.
Absolutely.
You come into like the canteen here and you're kind of looking at it, and they've kind of just completely moved it around. I can't imagine this place had this much character when the Nazis were kind of occupying the place.
But now they've kind of made it their home, so
They've definitely
it's
made
very
it their
nice.
home. It's very
Good to
cool.
see you,
But what we're going to do is go to Club Kreisau. Because, of course, that's where you go on a Friday
Right.
after you've had your donut
Right.
and you're tired of
So that's
killing
where,
Nazis.
that's where you're gonna go.
We're
'cause
going
you
to go
had
to
your
Club
donut.
Kreisau. I've had my donut, so
Look
come
at
up here.
this.
when we were talking about this before, we mentioned that this reminds us of the New York subway like layer. Is it called a layer in
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Very similar. I would say so. In TMNT 2, obviously the best of the 3 live action. Very similar to the subway layer.
Yeah, I get vibes. It's awesome. And of course, I think that's just like a giant bomb.
He
It's just like wired up.
needs a skateboard or something, like a ramp.
Of course, we're playing on the Fergus timeline right now because I've got the laser craft work.
Yep. So you can see his little quarters here, punching bag.
So let's go ahead and.
You
let's
think
take a
he
look at
punches
something.
it just with his one hand, or like the mechanical hand?
Fergus?
Yeah.
I imagine if he punched it with the mechanical hand, he'd probably rip it right off the ceiling
think
and
you're
probably
right.
punch a hole through the side of the
I
sub.
think you're right.
So
Wait,
of
what's
course,
this thing right here?
Well, so this is an out-of-order pinball machine,
Yeah.
but this is a Nazi arcade game.
Wolfstone 3D.
Wolfenstein 3D.
I don't know what that is.
So before we jump in there, like of course, Elite Hans, the collector's edition,
Yep.
the thing. I mean, so essentially, MachineGames, Liesel, all of those cool kind of like alternate reality American things with like the Nazi twist stuff.
Right.
All that stuff is kind of like incorporated in little bits into the game, and of course, like it's got this whole kind of like alternate fiction thing. Apparently, Wolfenstein 3D.
Wolfstone.
Wolfenstein 3D, but Wolfenstein 3D was also
Yeah.
Nazified.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing because it's 1961.
Right.
but the Nazis' ability to kind of go and take things that we love and turn them against us knows no bounds. And apparently Wolfenstein 3D is a part of that. So instead of BJ Blazkowicz, you play as Elite Hans.
Right.
And you go around ridding the world of the resistance scourge and everything like that.
And
so
who's Elite Hans?
Yeah.
What?
Who is Elite Hans?
Who is Elite Hans?
Yeah.
Well, you can see that guy right there at the bottom. That's not BJ Blazkowicz. Why don't you go in there?
We're going to go in here.
Wow. Wait a minute. So you're telling me you can play this in the game, and you're telling me that Shoshana had 7,000 points? The cat monkey. Is that what you're going to tell me?
That seems like the hardest thing to believe. 7,000 points? I don't know exactly.
But Set uses his hands a lot in the lab. I could see him being good at video games.
Yeah, Caroline's got a good high score.
Yep.
Of course, Max Haas, he's, of course, the
That
professional.
That is surprising, though.
When he's not painting the resistance helicopters and otherwise bringing like a lot of personality to the Avis Hammer, he's clearly playing Elite Hans.
He has skills.
He is a skillful, creative man.
Let's go ahead and play.
Wow, so look at the name of these, the different chapters. There's Die, Terribility, Die. So this is totally Naziified, I guess you could say.
That's exactly what I would call it. Let's jump into episode 1. And of course, Elite Hans, he's kind of like a skinny BJ. But I mean, BJ is a very, like, blonde-haired, blue-eyed kind of
But this,
dude, right?
this is clearly just, like, not him.
No, this is definitely not him. Let's bring him on.
Now, as you make your way through these levels, which look very similar, you're going to start to notice some differences. So MachineGames went in and actually,
they made this into exactly what it is in the game, right? I mean, like, this is not Wolfenstein 3D, make no mistake.
Right.
It might look similar and all that stuff, but no, absolutely not.
You can see on the symbols there.
We have another crack at the shooting range.
Lots of Kreisau circle stuff, and of course, he is enemy number 1.
Right.
Right? Absolutely. You want this guy dead at all costs, right? If you're Elite Hans, this is your mission. It's just, to me, of course, you could play missions of Wolfenstein 3D. They were kind of like these dream sequence nightmares for BJ in the New Order. Whenever you kind of went to sleep in the hub and things like that, he'd have these nightmares.
Right.
And it was a really cool way to present it. MachineGames did an amazing job with it. This time, you just basically play all of Wolfenstein 3D, Wolfstone 3D, and the attention to detail in the world building is what makes it so interesting. It's like you just take something as interesting as Wolfenstein 3D and you present it in a completely new light. And it's, as far as like the main thread of the new Colossus, I know where at least one of these secrets are.
Yeah, good job.
If the chat knows where all the other secrets are, and assuming that they do, feel free to put them up. And Nicole, if you can put them up, please do, because that's the only secret I actually know, and I'm pretty sure that's something like that gets me like a 20% secret thing.
Were you a big fan of Wolfenstein 3D? Tough game, I think.
Yeah.
I just go around and end up just trying to open every single wall because I get paranoid about it. Of course, you're collecting the gold.
Someone said behind the wall.
Behind the wall where?
Slightly different colors.
Behind the wall with slightly different colors. Well,
That's very specific.
And 2 out of 3 of us are colorblind, so.
Well, I'm color deficient.
Well, yes.
I know I make a big deal out of that, but that's technically what it is.
Let the record show.
Let the record
Derek
show.
is color deficient.
That's right. I can see color. I know what these things are. I get them confused. I can't see the patterns.
You're definitely deficient. So why don't we keep going here? Up.
I've reached the end of the level. I'm not going to get all these secrets.
It's okay.
Behind the wall with a lot of colors.
It doesn't narrow it down.
It doesn't. Well,
nicely done.
Thank you. I didn't die that time.
That was pretty
we
good.
We can
20%.
20%, absolutely. I think the other big thing to mention, because we're not going to go through all this, of course, but this Wolfstone stuff and like the detail and Avis Hammer and
Yep.
the district missions, all these things that just kind of like find their way into the game. And of course, Wolfenstein is a very kind of like narrative, story-driven, following BJ's journey with Anya and all of their friends and the Resistance members and their goal to kind of like free the United States from Frau Engel and of course in the Nazis in general. That's like that's what we focus on. But in the like the tertiary stuff, like you've got all these world building things and they just feel so cool and like everything feels very authentic. And MachineGames just has this kind of ability to go in and make these kinds of things, have these ideas, and you could spend almost all your time just playing Wolfenstein or Wolfstone 3D.
You really can. I mean, these are different characters and they have their stories, and you get little pieces of that throughout the sub, which is great. So you can walk around and, you know, imagine that Shoshana was sitting here playing this game for hours trying to get a good score.
And never getting past 7,000.
Exactly.
And this, I should say that this actually feels great. I'm using a mouse and keyboard to control this.
Yep.
So, you know, you're not using arrow keys. It's not just keyboard only. They actually mapped all the mouse look controls and stuff. So for people who are kind of turned off or needed to like mod Wolfenstein 3 to play it that way, this is just perfectly seamless. You don't have to worry about like learning a new control scheme. You just play it like the way you play the new Colossus. Just jump in here. And for newcomers to Wolfenstein, people who play the new Colossus because they're not familiar with the franchise and everything, it's just a fun little additional thing and kind of a nostalgia trip for the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think that's it, though. I don't want to show much more of this because it's...
Yeah, we want you
it to be
guys
a
to be able
surprise
to jump in. I mean, the game comes out next week on Friday, so we want you to be able to experience
week
this.
away.
It's insane that it's
One
this,
week away.
This month is flying by. But before,
Do we have more giveaways?
Well, before we wrap up, I think we do have one final giveaway, which is a really cool one. And I just want to pull it out, and it is right